Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be starting off our best of 3 series for M20 with a Dagron Tribal list. So, Dragon Tribal, it doesn't actually contain too many of the newest cards from M20, however, one of the new legendary creatures from the set is Drakaseth, Maw of Flames, a 7 mana 7/7 with flying. When it attacks, you get to deal 4 damage to any target, 3 damage to each of up to 2 other targets as well. So we can deal a severe amount of damage with Drakaseth. But basically what we're doing here is we're going to be running a nice mid-rangey dragon-based list. So how do we mid-range our opponent? Well, we work our way up to our 4, 5, and 6 drops, all the way up to our 7 drops, by using removal like Shivan Fire, Lava Coil, and Spitflame. Spitflame being one of the better ones because it's a 3 mana, deal 4 damage to a creature. Whenever a dragon enters the battlefield, you may pay red, and if you do, return it from your graveyard to your hand. So if it's relevant in the matchup, we can basically draw a card off of any of our dragons, which is guaranteed a Spitflame. So 4 damage kills a lot of the creatures in the format. It is 3 mana, but we're trying to work our way up to these big numbers anyway, so it shouldn't be really too much of a problem. We're also going to be leveraging Dragon's Hoard as well, a 3 mana artifact that says whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, put a gold counter on Dragon's Hoard. You get to remove a gold counter, which allows you to draw a card. And you can also use it to ramp as well by adding 1 mana of any colour. So we are a base red list, as you can maybe tell, and we're only splashing in the main deck for Nicol Bolas and for Niv Mizzet. And the ways that we actually cast these spells is by using Dragon Hoard, but also the Sarkhan Fireblood, whose second +1 ability there allows us to add 2 mana of any combination of colours to cast dragon spells. So we can cast our Nicol Bolas off of basically an all-red hand with a Sarkhan. We can also get a turn 4 Niv Mizzet as well against those control matchups, which could be very crucial indeed. Now, Niv Mizzet's probably in the game 1's just going to get 2 for 1 anyway. We're going to get the 2 for 1. So we're getting some value off of a turn 4 Niv Mizzet, even if it just dies immediately, but it's pretty nice all the same. If they can't deal with it, then the card advantage will just run away with it. Speaking of, as I mentioned, the Dragon's Hoard being able to remove gold counters, allowing us to draw cards, basically says that all of these creatures, whenever they enter the battlefield, they'll just replace themselves. So our opponent could kill our Nicol Bolas, but we'll be drawing a card off a Dragon's Hoard, and probably just getting another Nicol Bolas or another big threat. Verix being able to make another 4/4, so basically a 7 mana for 8 power in flying creatures over 2 bodies, and it basically, again, demands a 2 for 1. There's a lot of that theme in this deck. 2 for 1s from the Verix, 2 for 1s from the Niv Mizzets, drawing cards off of our creatures and basically replacing them is just an insane amount of value. So all we really need to do is get to all of these creatures, and we should be able to run away with the game. We can also ramp using Captain Lannery Storm as well, one of my favourite cards that's not really seeing too much play. It does die to a shock, so it does want to come out in matchups where that is a 4 of in that particular list, but the ability to actually attack on turn 3 with haste and generate treasure tokens, which can be tapped for any colour of mana, is really crucial, because the turn 3 you go for Lannery Storm, and then turn 4 you can play all of your 5 drops, so suddenly we're opening up all of these options for us, and these are some really powerful options to get down a turn earlier than maybe we want to. You can also fix our mana for the Niv Mizzet as well, if we've already got a Dragon's Hoard or something like that. Then we're basically set up to get these cards. And if we should be lucky enough to just get in one more treasure attack, then we get ourselves Drakaseths and things like that. And this should run away with the game. But yeah, that's essentially the main deck. As I mentioned, it's a base red deck, so we're only running mountains in this list, and all of our other colours are actually in the form of non-basics. So Form Stevens, 4 Sulphur Falls. We got a Temple of Epiphany in here that I'm trying out. It's not entirely necessary to run any more than these temples, but because we don't really do anything on turn 1 and 2, it's nice to have this Scryland here available. I might want to consider having 1 or 2 more in. If you're not running the full playset of your Steam Vents and your Sulphur Falls, then you can replace them with the Temple if you're on a budget. We also have the 2 Blood Crypts and the 4 Dragon Skull Summits, as for 6 black sources for the Nicol Bolas, plus of course the Dragon's Hoard and the Sarkhan. So it all fixes our mana, but we're really not going to get colour screwed too often with this one because we are just running mono red with a splash of both colours. So for the sideboard, we've got some extra stuff for the early game. As we mentioned, we want to last as long as possible. So 2 copies of Shivan Fire allows us to deal damage to creatures, and if we kick it, we can deal 4 damage to that creature instead. So it's got some early game instant speed potential. It's like the shock that can't hit opponents' faces. Because let's face it, we don't need to hit our opponent's face with this deck, because a Niv Mizzet out for 2 or 3 turns will win us the game. Same thing goes for Drakaseth ulting a Nicol Bolas and transforming it into the Planeswalker side. That'll win us the game as well. So we really don't actually need to hit our opponent's face with these removal spells. So we're running Shivan Fire, which has the early game potential, but also the ability to kick for 5 mana to deal basically Lava Coil levels of damage, so pretty good. 1 copy of Grafdigger's Cage, which can shut down Experimental Frenzy in the mono-red matchup, so we'll be bringing it in for that. But also for the graveyard matchups as well, there's a little bit of Reanimator going around. Not too much, but this is pretty decent for that as well. So creature cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield, and players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries, so it shuts down jumpstart cards like Risk Factor as well. So it's a pretty decent card, quite versatile, gets the job done. 3 copies of Negate. We want to bring this in against the control matchups because we can combo this nicely with our Niv Mizzet. Getting Niv Mizzet down on turn 4 or turn 5 after the Sarkhan Fireblood. Being able to untap with a Negate and keeping this in play. Bearing in mind Niv Mizzet actually triggers off of instants and sorceries cast by either player, so we get to draw some cards off of that. And the Negate allows us to protect and redraw, which is really nice. 1 copy of Elder Spell because it's War of the Spark and Planeswalkers are everywhere. It speaks for itself, to be honest. We can also stick those loyalty counters on a flipped Nicol Bolas, which doesn't happen too often, but it is there as an option nonetheless. We have 2 copies of Fry to deal with all of the Planeswalkers, the blue and white creatures and Planeswalkers. 5 damage for 2 mana is pretty sweet, and the uncounterability as well is really nice at taking care of Teferis and things like that. 2 copies of Flame Sweep for the creature matchups yet again. Deal 2 damage to each creature except for creature control with flying, so it doesn't really hit our stuff except for the Lannery. Again, we'll probably want to bring out Lannery, because if we're going up against a deck that needs to run Flame Sweep, the likelihood is this Lannery isn't going to get damage anyway, so we end up taking out the cards that actually get affected by this. 2 copies of Unmod Ego, so we can name Nexus of Fate, at least until it rotates out. We can also name some build-around pieces as well. You'll see a matchup today where it'll actually be quite relevant. Won't win us the game in that matchup, but it will certainly nerf the deck like crazy. And finally, as I mentioned, for the control matchups, we want to bring in those extra copies of Niv Mizzet, so we can go for that turn 4 Niv, 4 Sarkhans, 4 Niv Mizzets. It's pretty likely that we get there on turn 4 anyway, so being able to slap these down repeatedly is really nice. But yeah, that's essentially the deck. Without further ado, I'm going to get into the matchups. We're going to be playing 2 today because I actually had a pretty short one and a nice long one as well, so enjoy those matches. But before we get into those, it would help out the channel a great deal if you guys would hit that like button and subscribe for some more content like this in the future. It takes a while to make these, and I hope you guys all enjoy them. Without further ado, let's get into the game. I'll see you there. Alright, let's be on the play, shall we? Double removal hands, double Niv Miz, it's not great. It's not castable in realistic terms, but I don't know, I'm not completely against this hand. It's like if we get Sarkhan off the top and find 1 blue source, then these are immediately castable. Dragon's Hordes help with that as well. I'm going to keep it. I think we can really slow this game down with these removal spells. Depends entirely on the matchup, I guess. Because these could just be dead cards. But if these are dead cards, that means that this is a really good card. But it's probably going to be a Thought Erasure matchup wherever these are good cards, so I'm not sure on that one. Opponents decided to mull anyway, so they're going down to 6. Alright, well, come out and go. Yeah, I'm torn whether or not this is a mull. I think it might be, to be honest. But if our opponent doesn't play anything, then of course it's a great hand, because it could beat any deck that doesn't play anything. No blue. Okay, but it is a land. We want to get up to about 5 mana anyway. Best draw for us, I think, is Dragon's Horde or Lannery Storm. Looks like our opponent's on Elementals, and we do have a 4-drop ready to go. We can Spit Flame the Reef, the Risen Reef, if they play it next turn. It's a 4 of in any Elemental deck, or it should be at least, so expect to see it about as often as you do Thought Erasure. Do they have an answer to a Verix Bladewing in a list like that? They could, if they're running their own Lava Coils. Depends on if they're like leveraging Omnath as well, because Omnath is a pretty decent removal spell. There's a blue source. So let's just avoid shocking ourselves and just play Verix as a 4-4 for flyer. 4-4 for 4 flyer. That's the word soup right there. There he goes. Alright. So they're going to need something like a Lava Coil. A Lightning Strike is just not going to be enough. And now we run this 4-4 into our opponent until they die, hopefully, while we Spit Flame and Lava Coil. If we get another 4-drop dragon, which is only Nicol Bolas, we can get a Spit Flame back later, I guess. So we want to use this on the opportunity that we end up getting a way to get it back, because it looks like it's going to be relevant in this matchup. Alright, 2-phoning them. It's pretty good. Shocks, though. Shocks are going to be real bad against our deck, so that's a good sign. Shocks only kill Lannery Storms, and they've used 2 of the potential 4 in their deck. We want to bring out Lannery Storm for this matchup if they're running Shock. It's just... Lannery Storm can give you the potential to get to your creatures a lot quicker, but the possibility that they just immediately get shocked is too high, so it's just not worth running it. But in a lot of matchups, though, Lannery Storm's still pretty decent. There's a Temple. Well, we might as well play the Temple. It's always a tap land. And we definitely don't need the other Spit Flame. So put that to the bottom. We can just keep recurring this one over and over. There's a Paradise Druid. That's awkward, of course, because we can't actually interact with it. However, I guess this means that we're up against like a Nissa deck, and therefore we can use these Spit Flames and Lava Coils quite nicely. We're getting Niv Mizzet next turn as well, so we should be able to just like machine gun down their lands and kill Nissa quite easily. Yeah, there she is.
Together we will prevail.
Alright, so we'll kill the first land.
The land shall conquer you.
And then we got Niv Mizzet. Next turn, we'll shock ourselves so we can pay the 1 to get Spit Flame back and get the next land out. Ooh, Sarkhan's quite nice as well. But yeah, we definitely want to slap a Niv Mizzet out there. I imagine that this just wins us the game. They're down on mana, sort of. Down on lands, anyway. They used 2 shocks last time to kill a 4-4, so what the hell can they do to kill a 5-5? If they've got the plan of attacking through our Niv Mizzet, it's very obvious they've got another shock. So, yeah, we absolutely do not block here, because we're not silly. We just Spit Flame the land again, pressure Nissa, and she never gets to her ult and never recovers from the land loss here, in theory. They can't really use their Paradise Druid, because if they do, they're going to lose it to the untap or the draw off of Niv Mizzet anyway. 4 mana? Could be going for a Hydroid Crisis block, maybe? Yeah. This is the back foot that we want our opponent to be on. So we're going to hit Hydroid Crisis for 1, because the Spit Flame's going to hit it for 1 as well. We Spit Flame the Harbour, kill the Hydroid Crisis, hit Nissa for 5, and then we're just golden. Alright, so, looks like a Nissa deck. Speaks for itself, really. We could unmod Ego Nissa. I feel like this deck actually just gets nerfed like crazy if you kill the Nissa. So while it doesn't directly win us the game, which is when you should be bringing in things like unmod Ego, I feel like it has a really good opportunity to just destroy. Alrighty then. Yeah, no answers to a Niv Mizzet apparently. And yeah, they scoop it up in the sideboard phase. Easy. Alright, we're in. We've got Lava Coil into Nicol Bolas into Hellkite. The only thing that makes this hand better, I guess, is maybe a Lannery Storm or a Dragon's Horde. Yeah, I'll take this hand. Not entirely sure what the matchup is, so of course it's not entirely a given what the good top decks actually are. Blue-black, get Thought Erasured. Oh, Red Horde, never mind. Well, we can't actually deal with enchantments, but we can annoy that amass token until the end of time, so that's not too bad. Yeah, we're going to go like Dragon's Horde into Nicol Bolas, enable the Dragon's Horde to draw as a card, which is pretty sweet. So one of the fun parts about this deck is that basically every single dragon has draw a card written on it, if you've got the 1 extra mana. Alright, so they've got themselves a 1/4, which we can deal with. We just don't need to deal with it right now. So let's just Dragon's Horde, I guess. And pass the turn. Might get ourselves an opportunity to Shiv and Fire something. Okay, getting in for 4. Getting in for... Nope, yep, getting for 4. Alright. I mean, it's possible that we should Lava Coil and Shiv and Fire. Drakoseth. That's a good one. Alright. Yeah, so we have 5 mana available to us now, so we can Shiv and Fire with Kicker. So we could do, like, Lava Coil. It's a shame we don't have a 3-drop, to be honest. Because then we could do, like, 3-drop Lava Coil. But yeah, we need to kill this before it gets a little bit more out of range, because most of our removal is just damage based, so it's going to probably have to be a, like, a kicked Shiv and Fire. Alright, so hopefully we've gotten rid of the Hexproof long enough for us to be able to Shiv and Fire this thing. Otherwise, we might have some trouble. Might end up being a race or something like that. An opponent with their 4 mana, I feel like they're just going to pass. That might mean that they've got a counter spell. I think we've got to try and go for it though. Maybe I should do it on their turn so they have to counter it on theirs. Spell Pierce. Ugh. Alright, well that's officially too big for us to handle, so the race begins, I guess. Down to 7. I think we just lost. Kefnet. An awkwardly timed Lava Coil. Alright, well, let's Bolas. Opponent discards. It's not going to matter. We're pretty much just dead. There's a cast down. So we know we can play around that by putting more legendaries back into our deck. A land and we can Drakoseth, but yeah, Vraska's Contempt, and that's lethal. Alright. Bit of an awkward game. I should have absolutely killed the creature as and when I got the opportunity, apparently. So, we're dealing with Kefnet and Dreadhorde. It looks kind of like a control deck that's just running one of those pieces to make sure that you can always have a threat in play. So we're going to bring in the negates for the spell pierces and whatnot, and their removal. And Niv Mizzet looks like a really good follow-up creature. I guess Demanding Dragon or Hellkite seem a little weaker. I guess we'll do Lannery Stormcut as well, because I'm sure they'll have answers to that. But we showed them loads of really big stuff, so... I like the Spit Flames. I'm not a big fan of the Shiv and Fires. They don't seem to hit that much. The Lava Coils and the Spit Flames seem to have that covered. I think maybe we'll go down like a Demanding Dragon. And then we've got like all legendary creatures for those cast downs that we saw. Niv Mizzet against any of their removal, we get a redraw, that kind of thing. And card advantage seems reasonable. Alright, let's be on the play. We've got a 3-lander with some Dragon's Horde and some Spit Flames. I'm going to take this hand. There's nothing particularly wrong with it. I do need a threat, and I'm not sure the Hellkite's actually the threat I'm looking for. So I'm going to bottom the Hellkite. I want a big threat. either a Sarkhan Fireblood that can draw through our deck, or work our way to Niv Mizzet, that kind of thing. Opponent opening up Spell Pierce, apparently. So they've shot themselves unnecessarily here. Maybe we can, yep, negate a Thought Erasure. They're going to take the negate anyway. No sense in giving them the opportunity to actually pick and choose what they want here. Alright, we're going to go Sarkhan, because we can actually cast everything except for Drakaseth next turn anyway.
Let us fight.
And discard the Spitflame. Sulphur Falls. Alright, we just need to find a real big threat to stick. Narset.
If you wish to meditate and prepare.
That's annoying. That's real annoying, because that means that we can't actually loot with Sarkhan, we'll just be discarding. So we'll just add the mana this time.
I will call the dragons.
Doesn't really matter. Let's add whatever. Yeah, we can use Dragon's Horde to draw cards through Narset, because we can tap it on our opponent's turn instead. But we can't use the Sarkhan Fireblood's loot. Alright, so they take Dragon's Horde, presumably. Spitflame doesn't have many targets, unless they want to pressure my Sarkhan somehow. But no. It's going to take the Horde. It's the correct pick, in my opinion.
Keep an open mind.
Narset gets the Elder Spell for reasons unknown to me. I guess it's maybe part of their win con. That they Elder Spell their own Planeswalkers to alter Lily or something like that. We draw more lands. Awesome. Alright, well, add some more mana.
Ready?
Pass the turn. We have Niv Mizzet mana, so that's cool. Niv Mizzet and pay for the Spitflame draw as well. Gleaming Overseer. Alright, well, I'm gonna kill that. Can pay for Spell Pierce. Another Dragon's Horde. Well, we'll play it, I guess. Play our tap land, get empty-handed. We could hold the land, I suppose, for Thought Erasures. I think I'd just rather get it down. Alright, keeping Sarkhan away from the ult.
You call that a hit?
And Cavalier of Gales, okay. That's a big boy. Can I get a single dragon, please? Any will do. Overseer into the bin. Or into... Actually, that's not Overseer, sorry. This is brainstorming. Alright. That's not too bad. So we go red, red, so we can pay less on our Dragon's Hordes here. I'm going to go for the counters so we can trade off with the Cavalier. And we could get both Spitflames back. Or I could ping off one. I think we'll pay for one Spitflame. I don't think I need the other. And now we can use Spitflame and draw a card here. Or activate. I guess we could do the activate, ping, ping, get rid of Narset and less value on that Elder Spell they put back into their deck. God, the bugs are getting so bad in this game. So, removal for Hellkite, sure. And you can take Sarkhan to 2. As long as he's alive, though. That's all that matters.
Get me again.
Okay. Remove a counter. Lands. Remove a counter. Nicol Bolas. Okay. Let's... Demanding Dragon. Get some counters. I should have played the land first, I guess. Actually, it doesn't really matter. So we got both of our Spitflames anyway to kill this Cavalier. Probably losing Sarkhan, though. Takes the 5, yeah, because they've got removal to kill Sarkhan. So I'm just going to take this opportunity to discard one of these Spit Flames. Redraw into a Blood Crypt. Okay. And we're close to transforming a Nicol Bolas, which would be pretty sweet. Elder Spell, sure. Now they've got nothing to attack their Cavalier into. Except for they just want to do it anyway. I'm going to let you do that. Because I will win this race. Excuse me. I will win this race. So, Mountain. Nicol Bolas with Negate backup. Get some Dragon's Hordes. Discards. Dread Horde Invasion. I'm going to get the Spit Flame. Since we can, Spit Flame plus draw 2 here if we really want to. Take them to 8. And pass them up. Island. They probably win a counter war, but at least we actually get extra cards out of them anyway. And they've just decided they've had enough. Okay, maybe the waves will stop now. Oh, sweet relief. Okay. So, the Fry actually does seem more reasonable. Hits Cavalier, hits Kefnet, hits Narset. It does actually hit a lot of things. But what do I go down? Maybe one Spit Flame for a Fry. Maybe just try it like that. So I don't really need to get rid of these Spit Flames per se, but the 4 damage doesn't actually seem that relevant. Yeah, maybe I want to go down to just one Spit Flame. I think the 5 damage is more important, as the Lava Coils can also hit the Gleaming Overseers. So that's not the end of the world. And just recurring one Spit Flame's nice enough, I guess. Yeah, let's do it like that. Alright, 3 lands, Dragon's Horde, removal, and 2 top tier dragons. I'm going to keep this hand. It is duressable and thought seizable, I guess, but as long as we keep our Dragon's Horde, I think we'll be able to draw into whatever we need. The mana's decent enough for Nicol Bolas, and the blue source, at the very least, is a start towards Niv Mizzet. So we got 1 blue, 2 blue here, we just need a 3rd blue, and a way to work up to 6 mana. Opponent passes. Well, Lava Coil's sorcery speed, so just tap land, go. Blast Zone for our opponent. And Dreadhorde Invasion. So they could have Spell Pierce. Do I just play into Spell Pierce? It's a bit rough doing it, and I don't know if we necessarily have to, but if it goes well, then it's going to be great, because we can draw a card off a Nicol Bolas while making our opponent discard. I think we'll go for it. I feel like Spell Pierce is something they would board out against a creature mid-range deck like this one. We do have Spell Pierceable targets, of course, but... Alright, there goes Nicky B. That was a well-timed Thought Erasure from our opponent. This time around, for game 3, we're going to make sure that we don't actually leave that token for too long. Because that's what killed us in game 1. We were a little bit greedy with the value we were looking for on our cards. And that ended up coming back to bite us. That being said, I feel like I should just leave this Lava Coil at least this turn. Blue source off the top would be very nice. So it goes up to 2. Thought Erasure, sure. Takes 1 Niv Mizzet. Can't take the other though. Yeah, we got a Spit Flame. I'll take the opportunity to Spit Flame this away. Keep it in check. Keep our opponent losing life for very little value. Still got the Lava Coil. Next turn, we've got ourselves a Niv Mizzet. Hopefully we can get something like a negate, so that we're not just losing Niv Mizzet. There's Narset.
I know only home your
Narset
thoughts.
the Annoying gets Vraska's Contempt. That's irritating. Yeah, so we can't really play into that. I would really rather not. So I think I'm just going to pass. I don't think it's worth just losing a Vraska's Contempt
Thoughtfulness before action.
for a 6-mana spell. Just the mana doesn't trade up there. Down to 16. However, Drakaseth seems pretty nice. I guess now we go Niv Mizzet as the bait spell. Because Drakaseth to follow up is pretty brutal. Yeah, we have to do it this way because we don't have the third blue. So Dragon's Horde will come into play tapped. Ooh, we get to get Spitflame back as well. That's pretty nice. We can use the Dragon's Horde on our opponent's turn if needs be to draw a card through the Narset. But yeah, just having Vraska's Contempt open here means that we don't draw. So it's a 1-for-1. But we do get a Spitflame at least. We can double answer Gleaming Overseer and kill this token as well. Presumably. Another Niv Mizzet though. I think we want to get rid of Narset first before dealing with any of that nonsense. We could go with the Spitflame first. But that gives our opponent more chance to draw some good stuff. Maul. But the pressure's off and they've got to respond with something which might tap them out and let us play Drakaseth. I think I'll Spitflame. See what they go with here. They know we've got another removal spell. Sure. Which I'm just happy to use here, because I don't really want this thing getting any higher than 4. If I can help it. So there it goes. And we pass the turn. We'll use the Dragon's Horde tap to draw a card on their turn. Brings it up to 2. They need it on 3, which is going to kill their Narset. To actually do any damage here. All of our stuff's too big for Blast Zone to actually be relevant. Alright, so let's draw our card for the turn. Opponent looks at Narset thinking it works. Does not. Alright, we do get a nice kicker here on the Verix. Which gives us the ability to actually draw a card on their turn, but also have 2 bodies on board, so a single target removal spell is not going to be good enough here. The question becomes, do I want the Spitflame or the card draw? And I think the card draw is more important, honestly. Yeah, we'll decline that. We can get the Spitflame back with any of these spells later. So, Vraska's Contempt, I'm guessing? Yeah. So they've removed kind of 1-for-1 card-wise, but we're left with basically the exact same card on board, so really nice stuff there. And the more removal they spend, the less likely they are to be able to answer our big bomb threats. Like, hopefully Niv Mizzet once Narset bites the dust. So let's draw a card on their turn. Temple's not too bad. Dragon's Horde. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little short on that, but next turn maybe we can do Temple. Right, I'm going to try and kill Narset, because if we kill Narset, I can resolve a Niv Mizzet and get some 2-for-1 value there. Managed it.
I have reached my limit.
So I think we go with Niv Mizzet. 1, 2, 3. So we can actually do this, right? 4, 5. Yeah, this works. Play Dragon's Horde. Is open to a bit of negatable shenanigans, but now we get some extra draws. I didn't actually count the Dragon Sword on my first calculation. They can spend an entire turn blast zoning my Dragon Swords. I really don't mind, because I've got the Niv Mizzet for card advantage now. And, well, I'll take another Dragon Sword since they'll probably end up wanting to blow it up. I think we're in a pretty dominating position now. Yeah, takes up to 3. And this basically leaves them with 2 mana, which at that point means I can resolve this Drakoseth without any problems. Alright, so hit him for 1. Do we get Drakoseth down now? I feel like we can attack first, see if they've got any removal. They don't. And it's going to be very hard to deal with 3 legendary threats when we know they're running cast downs in their deck. Drakoseth threatening lethal, Niv Mizzet threatening lethal, and this token threatening lethal as long as we get the untap with Niv Mizzet. Victory. Yeah, this deck basically just tries to slow the game down until it can just outvalue with crazy amounts of dragons. You know, playing a dragon and then having a redraw available to you is a really, really powerful effect. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Anyway, if you did, then be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for some more content like this in the future. I really do love this deck. It is probably not very great, I don't think, but it's a lot of fun anyway, so if you want to play around with dragons, this is probably the build for you guys anyway. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.